Flame on! How's everybody doing tonight? I'm here with my special guest, Nick Lenz. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Love the cover image you picked.
Nice. And welcome to the long return of this manga review. Now, we did due to scheduling constraints and stuff going on in my personal life, like graduating my degree and starting my new job, we did end up missing at least a lot of the momentum and coverage for this manga volume, like all like chapters 10, 11, and 12. I even had thumbnails made. We just never got around to it.
Yeah, and 13 got released today.
Yeah, so don't worry, you will. We're going to start the show off with a bit of a recap for chapters 10 through 12, and then towards the end, we're going to have a detailed discussion on chapter 13 because there's a lot to talk about on chapter 13.
Oh
So, thi-
yes.
so if you don't want to be spoiled, if you actually want to watch another YouTuber, research it, or read the chapter for yourself, we'll give you a last minute warning. That way, you have a chance to leave on your own accord, read the chapter, come back. All right. But with that being said, Nick, you wanted to go a full recap, or you just want to comment based on the other chapters already?
Well, we can do a recap of these chapters. I mean, there's a good amount happens here. So the big thing with
Sorry about that.
so the big thing with this chapter, aside from everybody chatting about stuff related to the people attacking the village and Kawaki going after them, um, basically it's like, oh yeah, blocking the way, and then after Himawari, Sadara shows up, and there's claw marks and everything. Wait, is Code here? Nope. We have a guy simply using his powers. Yeah, and then of course they attack Sadara. Yeah, and everybody basically is shocked. Like, and then we see Himawari on a dreamscape and meets up with a baby version of Karama. When you saw this, like, wait, I thought you died, right?
Uh, yeah, I agree. I mean, I guess it's possible because Naruto was still Jinchuriki for Kurama when he had his kids, but this was a stretch. I don't know if this was fan service or if people were really outcrying and mourning Kurama's death, but this was definitely
It wasn't
a
like a
hot.
tiny Karama. This looks like basically like a dog version of him, not like the giant version we saw in we saw for a long time the main Naruto series.
Yeah, the closest he's ever gotten to this design was when he and the other tail beasts were first created by Hagoromo, and that was when they were relatively young.
Yes, and like so Karama introduced himself to Himawari. Now this might be a new Karama, but last time I checked, Karama has known Himawari. Never actually officially met her per se, but he's known of her since she was a baby. So did you thought this is kind of weird? Does him introducing himself like the fact he apparently does not know what she looks like. I'm sure probably the Naruto probably gave him a description of what she looked like, but it's like I think basically see here it's like during the same mindscape that Naruto goes in. Excuse me, whenever he is converts to a Karama. That's my guess. What this place is. Uh, how Himawari has next to it and not Baruto. Uh, my guess is probably the writer did this, gave it to Himawari because it's so we don't have to always focus on Baruto. Yeah, he's the main character, but giving Himawari is probably a good idea. It gives her development because a lot of the time, the main manga, she very rarely got development. This is probably the biggest book she actually had since the character first debuted.
And contrary to popular belief, no, the manga and anime carry similar story beats, but one of the biggest critiques of the Boruto anime, other than its cheap production, is the fact that it's buried in filler. But if you actually run the numbers out of 130 episodes, it's roughly 45, maybe 40, maybe right at 45% filler
I would say
at
probably
most.
the only arc they did confirm did happen in the manga was the first time they went to Hit and Mist. They confirmed that one's canon because
And
they confirmed in the manga. Don't know about the Academy, so I think a lot of that is filler. I would say portion of it is canon, but I don't think all of it's filler.
Because I do, at least from my research, that the first 50 board episodes of Boruto leading to the movie recap were based on the light novels for the series or prior to the events of the movie.
Yeah,
So,
the ghost arc, that was completely original for the anime.
okay, I have not. Wait, are we talking about the New Way arc or are we talking about the actual Ghost arc with the family resort?
No, the ghost arc was the arc where Sasumori was having her creature sort of possess people to do stuff that was not under their control.
Okay,
The arc that
okay.
opened up the bar to anime, that was the opening arc with the first 14 episodes. And it turns out she was just being used by her father, who had been dead for this point, which, and I tend to wonder, though, like, okay, so, like, she lives by herself. So, at least in the case of Naruto and Sasuke, there's an explanation of how they got the money to live by themselves. For Sasumori, there is no explanation. For Sasuke, it was probably an inheritance from his parents. For Naruto, he was getting allowance from the Hokage secretly. But Sasumori, they never say of where to get the money from, how she can basically survive with food. Maybe it's provided by the village. It's never stated in the series.
The only ones that I know are directly alluded to or at least made anime canon by the actual show itself and also to a degree in the manga are the Shinichia art with Sarada, and that was actually the original the light novel, which extends the Naruto manga by an extra volume or 10 chapters, arguably two, but that's neither here or there.
I haven't read a lot of the Naruto light novels. The ones I've read um, are the ones that the first trilogy of books, the one that was after the anime, and then the ones that came later, where one was fully after the anime, partial after. It was the one that had the parent child day arc.
Yep,
That series. Yeah,
the Resident trilogy.
I read that, and I read the series of novels that where they featured the Sasuke one where he's in prison.
Yeah, that's Sasuke Resident. It's Konoha. No, that's okay. Am I confusing the Resident
Because
novels and the
there
Shinden
was one that
novels?
focused on him and Sakura. There was
Okay.
one that focused on Kakashi, and there was one focused on Naruto and Orochimaru.
Okay, Retsuda. I was thinking of Shinden for a second because the
Yes.
Shinden novels, those take place earlier, way
Yes, and
earlier.
for some reason, I'm not sure why this is. The Hidden Ninja Scrolls. The manga adaptation has been released here, but the light novel hasn't. You find that weird?
That is weird.
Yes. The one thing about Viz Media, they're very stitchy about releasing light novels over here when it comes to the Naruto franchise. I mean, they released the My Hero ones, all six, and I own all of them. But Naruto, they put out the first three. They put out the Sasuke one, the two Itachi ones, and that was it. That's all they put out here. Not the Gar one, not Hidden Leaf, not the Akatsuki. Those never released here for some reason, which I think they should. I
Well,
don't
yeah.
know why.
Well, this is just my personal opinion, but you also got to look at the market because Konoha Shinden, excuse me, Konoha Shinden was basically like Sakura, the blooms of the sacred flower, and the majority of the older Naruto parents getting together. Gar Resident is basically a political alliance slash political marriage, which
Okay, Gar is a
ultimately
popular character. You would think they would release it because he's still popular.
I could see Gar as getting released, even if the bulk of the story is politics and a political marriage or arranged marriage.
And I think some of the book is referenced in Baruto.
It is with the adoption of Shinki and his other adoptive children. So yeah, that novel at the very least at least referenced in the anime. The
Yes.
others are not.
The other one they did that was never released here. The final arc that they did for Shippuden, the one that was a Hidden Leaf story, the one that led to Naruto and Nada's wedding. That was a light novel, but it was never released here.
Wait, didn't that get adapted to the last 3 episodes of Naruto and
It
they just rushed through it?
last five.
Last five, thank you.
They adapt then Shikamaru's, and then they did Hidden Leaf story. And here's a little fun fact: when I caught up with Shippuden, the Shikamaru ones was the first new ones I watched. Because
Yeah,
it took me a
because
while to get through this series because I was bench watching this thing like 7 years ago. And yes, it's been that long. and then like a catch up, and then gnawing out the Sasaki Shikamaru. Then it was Hidden Leaf. Then the series ends. Gets replaced 1 week later with Baruto. 1 week.
Yeah, they really junk. Okay, see, I've said this on multiple videos, so you can quote me. And I hate to cut you off, Nick, but I feel like this needs to be said. Not only did they, it's kind of a Dragon Ball Super situation in a way, to where they pretty much rushed it on the production side of things. They
They, they,
didn't
they,
really.
they gave each book 5 episodes apiece. I would say Sasuke's did a really good job adapting that one. Shikamaru's they kind of cut some stuff out of that one. I
Yeah,
know if you read it.
Shikamaru Shinden, the Land of Silence. I want to say that that's either Shikamaru Shinden or Konoha Shinden. I can't remember the exact title off the top of my head.
It was Shikamaru. Here it's released as Shikamaru story, The Land of Silence,
Okay.
where the major thing they cut out of that book was because if you watch the arc, Naruto appears just for the opening episode of that arc, and that's it. In the book, he appears a lot more, like more than there's that one scene you saw in the anime, where he's like walking around with a toothbrush outside. I thought it was really bizarre they adapted that, but then like because they didn't want to have any cutaways back to Hidden Leaf Village, where you have Naruto pestering Sakura where the heck Shikamaru is, and they have him reunited with Shikamaru's like where like he was like worried about him the whole time.
I mean, yeah, true measure of friendship, and yeah, that would have been a very nice touch. But
Instead,
again,
they didn't adapt it. Instead, they set up a date with Shikamaru and Tamari and Ino and Sai, which that was very predictable.
I will give them this. In the novel, Ino and Sai do cement their relationship in the context of Shikamaru Shinden, but the majority of the pairings don't get together until Sakura Shinden.
Yes,
Like
which
I read a
I
fan
read the book.
translation and I know this.
Yeah, the Sakura one takes place a month after the last.
Like right after.
Yeah, and this will be perfect for the anime. Nope, they didn't adapt it. The book was really
See,
good.
see what I would have done? I would have actually had done a series of movies to where you actually adapt the novels. Now, granted, Naruto series has delved into standalone movies in the past.
And the movies were not necessarily canon to the series. They were set in their own continuity, like One Piece and Dragon Ball movies are.
The only
Those
one you could,
the Super movies are canon to Super, but the movies that came before those are their own thing.
yes, the first 13 from Dead Zone to Wrath of the Dragon. Those first 13 are relatively standalone.
Yes, and they're set in their own continuity. They do not they reference the show, but they don't interfere with it. The Super movies they actually are canon because Kiri Toriyama, before of course this is before his passing, he was involved with movies.
The only ones you could really make the argument that are semi-canon, or can at least make an argument they took place, or at least the show's version took place off screen, are BoJack Unbound, Wrath of the Dragon, and maybe a third one. But even then, it's a
I
stretch.
would
Not
say maybe the Revenge of Cooler.
Cooler's Revenge or Revenge of Cooler.
Cooler's Revenge.
Okay, the first one. Okay,
I would say
Pop,
because that takes place during a 3-year time skip.
it's pull offable, but if you're factoring Goku versus Goku's arrival again and the whole Trunks' intervention with Mecha Frieza and King Cold, Goku has much better usage of Super Saiyan and can transform on command.
Yeah, it's like during because remember the show they had 3-year time skip where it's like, oh yeah, come back to this place 3 years. That's when the androids show up. That's where this movie takes place, along with its sequel, The Return of Cooler.
Bit of a
But
stretch, but you could pull it off. You have the gap for it. Don't get me wrong, you do. Especially
Dead
since
Zone was weird. Like they said the movie takes place for events of the show, but like yeah, Goku reunited with his friends before the show, and there was an infamous scene where Gohan did his business on top of Krillin's head. You know what I'm talking, right?
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I know it's funny because he's a little kid, but anybody watches by asking like, why the heck is this even freaking here?
Your guess?
And the movie is semi-canon because Garlic Jr. shows up again in the main series.
In a filler arc, but yes, he does.
The arc was amazing.
It, Yeah, it was pretty good. It was good for what
And
it
his best
was.
part, he's like the only villain in the main anime never to officially die.
Wait, what about? Huh?
Aside from Emperor Pilaf, he was more of an annoyance.
That is true.
Everyone else practically died.
The only ones who got sequels were Broly. I think Broly was the only one of the first of the of the original 13 to actually get a sequel.
Along with Cooler.
Okay, Cooler got a sequel. Broly got a trilogy, and
And the last movie was terrible. Bio Broly.
yeah, that movie's infamous.
Yeah, having Broly be a freaking clone because he died in the last movie. And this movie you can kind of fit into the canon of the main series because it follows up with a plot point from the main series where 18 wants
The prize money
reward.
in exchange for taking the dive.
Yeah.
You could.
That movie you can semi fit in. The first two, I'm not sure where you fit those because basically the plot of the. I know we're getting off topic from Baruto, but
I know, but let's go ahead. We end it now. We might as well discuss it.
yeah.
But yeah, the first
There's no
one,
time to talk about Dragon Ball because this series had a humongous influence on a lot of manga creators, including Kishimoto,
Kishimoto.
the man who has a Frieza statue in his office and named the character Sasuke after Ikari-Tama's son. Shows the fact how much big a fan he is.
But I will say this though before we return to the Boruto topic. We're still on chapter 10, but I'll just say this: this is our first official video, at least directly collabing and acknowledging since Toriyama's passing. So this was just a brief banter between the two of us to pay our respects.
Yeah, and to poke fun at some funny stuff that Dragon Ball did.
So that's the main reason we're on this little detour. But back to the events of chapter 10. I think we were covering up to page 10, page 12.
We're at 17.
Oh, 17, thank you.
Yeah, and Himawari's like, yeah, it's shown that she's asleep, and you have Shikadai trying to wake her up while you have people trying to attack them. Karama basically explains of how the heck basically it's like, and of course Himawari does know who Karama is. Like, you're the Bowers that used to be at the time of my dad. I'm not sure why they've heard of him by that name. I know it's a translation thing, but he's a tailed beast. Baju?
Biju. I think that was also. I could
I
have
don't
sworn
know.
I've heard.
I've never heard that. I've heard of this chapter. I never heard of that term before when it comes to describing the tailed beast. Maybe because I'm used to the Viz Media anime translations of stuff. This is also translated by Viz Media.
Yeah, I've heard like Biju Dama or Biju Bomb, but again, if you've actually read the sub or the actual normal Japanese speaking connotations of the show, you'll be a bit more used to that term.
Oh, and speaking of manga, Jujutsu Kaisen is ending next month, and also Hunter x Hunter is coming back.
Wait, Jujutsu Kaisen's ending in 5 chapters?
Yes.
That's gonna be a challenge. I mean, okay, we might as well talk about this now. Sorry, folks, I know we're derailing, but bear with me. You were never gonna get a satisfactory ending with My Hero Academia. Deku was always an everyman, or basically played the everyman or average Joe trope.
Mm-hmm.
Say what you will about Deku and Ostef and Black Clover being Naruto clones. Say what you will about that in their respective settings. But at the end of the day, they were everymen who rose into prominence. And Deku losing his powers and being an acknowledged teacher, sensei, instructor is a full circle aspect. Or where
And
everything.
also the fact that they couldn't show if he and Ochako became a couple. That would have been nice to show that,
But
no,
it's not necessary.
Like, I know the fans want to see it. I wouldn't like the only kind of acknowledgement we kind of have is like if you've read the chapter, Ochako is wearing a piece of Deku's outfit as part of hers around her neck.
And the fact she was grieving for Toga and Deku consoled her in the opening pages of the last chapter. Spoilers.
I would say that they're kind of a couple, but it's not confirmed.
Yeah, I think like if the mangaka from My Hero Academia learned anything from the big three when they were in serialization, those mangas ended with a massive shipping war in the early 2000s. So it's best not to canonize anything because especially with how
Well,
sensitive and
Bleach
irate
only
the
had technically two relationships, not like with Naruto, where like almost every character's in a relationship.
maybe so, but man, man, if you actually were on forums or any sort of social media engagement in the late 2000s, early 2010s, when people thought when it was found out that both Ichigo was going to end up with Orihime instead of Rukia, and Hinata and Naruto with Hinata instead of Sakura, people online were pissed. In the
Yeah,
case
and
of
I
Naruto,
agree with Kishimoto's, uh, uh, like his whole thing, putting him with Naruto and Nada because that makes more sense of a couple than Naruto and Sakura.
Naruto and Sakura is just literally Naruto having an Oedipus complex or dating someone who's too similar to his mom, which I understand because, okay, since we're back on Naruto, I might as well mention it. In the anime, Sakura was basically a running gag of a very common trope where you pretty much smack somebody upside the head for using something stupid or pervy. I don't want to use the actual term because I don't want to risk getting demonetized, but that's pretty
Yeah,
much the
and here's
gag.
the thing: Sakura has only hit Boruto once, compared to her mom hitting Boruto's
Naruto.
dad multiple times in the anime. A lot, like in the case of Naruto, like almost every episode, she beats the crap out of Naruto. And Shippuden, not as much. She kind of does, but not as much as Naruto.
And that's the thing. In the manga, Sakura only smacked Naruto a couple of times, maybe about five at most in part one, and in Shippuden about twice because they barely interact in Shippuden. But in the anime, the gag was they ran that gag into the ground in the anime version.
And here's the thing: somebody asking, has Hinata ever hit Naruto? She has in a filler episode.
Either in filler or OVAs, but never in the main series proper.
Yes, Ten has two in filler. He knows him once. Mostly, he just soccer beat him up.
Pretty much.
Those who might be thinking, has Tamari ever hit Naruto? No, she never has.
She's been she's been annoyed by him multiple times, especially when
But
Naruto
she's never hit him.
she's never hit him.
Probably because basically he is her brother's best friend.
Well,
Because of the close friendship that Naruto has with Gara.
okay, yep.
That's probably the reason why. Like, one thing, out of the three siblings, Kankuro, Naruto very rarely interact. He didn't interact more with Gara and Tamari than he did with Kankuro.
Yeah, in Conqueror, there was a bit of banter between them in the Chunin exam, but other than that, and well, Gaara's near-death experience in the first arc of Part Two or Shippuden, Naruto and Kankuro only interacted a couple of times.
Yeah, it wasn't a really big thing. In the case of Tamari, my guess is because she was there, and probably also later because she married Shikamaru.
Yeah,
And if I read, she's like 3 years older than Shikamaru.
about 3 years.
Because I think when they first met, Shikamaru was 12 and she was 15.
I want to say so as well. It's been a while since I last read a Naruto data book, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Yes, and I think of the siblings, Tamari was the oldest, Conqueror was the middle child, and Gar was the youngest.
Hmm.
I think that's the case because Conqueror, I think, is supposed to be like a year or two younger than Tamari because very close in age, and Gar is the youngest.
So how did? Oh, that's right. During the time skip, Gaara led a coup to claim his birthright after with Shukaku and to assert over the Sand Council.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Gaara technically led a coup in
Yep,
Shippuden, and it never
and
gets addressed.
yeah, they never addressed like what exactly happened with like the only thing I knowledge that happened with him during the time skip is that he became Kazakage.
Even
That's
though
it.
that's a monarch, and Gaara's the youngest child. Yeah, the Sand Council was doing him dirty, ostracizing, stigmatizing him, all these things. But at the same time, Gaara is the youngest in line, practically the third in line.
I would say
Conqueror's
that in the case of the three siblings, Gara had probably more potential to be leader because of how much he basically can be very intimidating. Despite the fact he was the smallest of the three of the three siblings, and Tamari probably had no interest in it at all. Conqueror had no interest in because he was more focused on his own puppets. And Tamari had no interest in it at all, from what I can tell. I would say Gar is probably the most logical choice of the three.
I
And
guess.
there's nothing wrong with the youngest child of basically like of a previous leader becoming the leader. It's happened fiction a lot, so there's nothing really wrong with that. It doesn't always have to go to the eldest child. It can go to any of the children, whoever the parent deems fit. But at the time, Gar is probably dead for some point.
Yeah,
What
Gar's
about
father.
Uchimaru?
Yeah, it's not directly. It was confirmed, mind you, but it was. We don't get the actual context of the fight itself. We just know that prior to the events of the Chunin exam / Konoha Crush arc, Orochimaru killed their father in a double cross.
I think he stabbed him.
Either he stabbed him or he was poisoned.
They never confirmed exactly what his cause of death was.
All we know is that the Kaze Kage before him was turned into a puppet, which was no, that was Sasori who did that. Sorry, folks, that was Sasori who did that and turned his corpse into a
Sasori of
chakra
the
puppet.
Red Sand, his human form was voiced by Johnny Ambash. Which
Yeah,
it was kind of weird hearing his voice because when I think of Johnny Ambash, he like over the top with his performance. Here he's like soft spoken. It's like go to this bridge in 3 days. He's like almost very robotic. Did you notice that we watched the episode where we have Sasori's human form show up?
yeah. Even when I first saw his performance the first time, I thought Young Bosch was just phoning it in because there's no way he would be this flat. If you've heard or seen young John Bosch's voice work, he is never that flat with the character he voices.
Here's two examples of characters he's voiced where he's not flat. Bosch the Stampede
Yep.
from Trigun.
Yep.
Ichigo from
Bleach.
Bleach. His character from Persona 4.
Yeah, there have been roles where he was not flat, or if he was, and in roles he is flat, you can easily tell.
I
Almost to
don't
the
remember
point.
if he came back to the character when the character brought back for Reincarnate Juice because I only watched the arc and sub. I never got that far for dub because
I want to say he was recast. I don't think he was Ichigo's original actor in the dub. I want to say he was a recast, but I could be
I mean
wrong on that.
for Saucer when he came back as one of those reincarnation jutsu.
Oh,
For Ichigo in Bleach, Thousand Lore, yeah, he's back.
okay.
That was one character that did not change with the but like everyone else gets changed. Like Shag had a new voice actor. I know that Ikako got one because his previous voice actor was Vic At least he had a reason. But Chad's has stupid reason why he decided to reprise the role because his skin color didn't match the character he voiced. And my response, who freaking cares? No one cares about that. All we care about is your performance.
That's why it's called voice acting.
Yeah. It was kind of the same thing with Jumbo Lee. Like the same exact response why Alex Core is not playing Jumbo Lee in the X-Men 7 cartoon. The same reason. Her skin color doesn't match the character she's voicing.
The only logistic reason I could see someone be getting recast is either two main ones. Either A, it's a child actor who's aging out or going into puberty and they have to recast anyway. Mm-hmm. Or you don't want to pay, or the previous actor has garnered too much star power and you don't want to pay them. Those are the only two objective reasons you should recast someone.
Yeah, one series I actually did ask one of the voice actors about this why he was replaced, and that was on my smartphone because Josh Grell before he added himself as whatever the heck he wanted to add himself as last year, I think it was transgender. I think he added himself as. Corey changed his name to Jesse James Grell now. I still refer to him as Josh Grell. He was moved from Dubcast 4 into my smartphone. Now, I asked Jilly Harris about this, who voiced one of the characters. Was he replaced because of him outing himself? She said no. The reason why he was replaced because he asked to be replaced.
Okay, so that's the third one to the rule. Either circumstantial, where an actor ages out.
I guess because he's probably busy. That's probably the reason why.
A pay dispute, or they actively request to be recast and leave the role. But
yeah, at least he got a reason. I did not ask her, but there was one character replaced, and that was the first of the fiancés they had in the show, Princess Yuri. She got replaced too. Not sure why, but everyone else can say the same.
Excuse me. Sorry about
It
that,
too,
folks.
because a lot of these voice actors are super busy, and they can always reprise their popular roles known for. So they may have to pass them on something else.
And yeah, these things happen. They're a lot more common than you think, believe it or not, folks.
Yes, and in case you're curious, though, did David Lodge, who voiced Jiraiya, did he finish doing Jiraiya in Naruto? Yes, he did.
He
I think
voiced all.
I think he came back from Naruto as well.
Yeah, for the time slip art with Hiroshiki. Yeah, I think he came back for that because
Yeah,
I
but
didn't see
he
any.
but he has to date not come back to voice Kapachi. It's still Patrick Stultz. Last I
Yes,
saw was still Stultz, who makes it very bloodthirsty. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed that.
He sounds more bloodthirsty. Like it's like David Lodge gives a similar thing what he did with Jiraiya, but not being a pervert, but
Yeah,
just being
tone it down.
yeah, tone it down. And Stultz just turned the bloodthirst up to 11.
And but I will say this: as for the whole Kajin Koji thing, because I'm pretty sure just about everyone's pieced that together by now, regardless of the reveal. No, he did not reprise. He did not get the voice gig for Kajin Koji. That's a completely different actor. Because even the show, even the dub team didn't want to make it obvious.
Yeah, I of course still to say not watch the Boruto dub. It's not because I have no interest in just having a chance to watch it. That's the honest truth of the matter. I watched the whole series subbed. It was because I wanted to watch and review it.
I don't even
Simple as
think it made it to the movie recap. It made it up to like episode 50.
that.
Then
Well, I saw uh, basically the only way you can see the dub for the series is not on TV. DVDs. Last I saw, they pretty much released the entire series dub on DVD. I own like most of them. Not all of them. I own most of them. I own up to like I think the first I got to was when they released up to like episode like 100.
okay, so that would be about volume 4, volume 5.
These volumes got 13 episodes apiece. So
About
I'm
volume
probably
10,
like 15.
volume
Actually, I
15.
think I got to like episode, I think it was like 20, 125, 130. That's as far as I got with it. But I haven't got any further because for some reason, my local Walmart where I get them, they stopped carrying them. So if I get these DVDs, I have to order from the website. Okay, so basically, not Himari does know who he is. Like, what are you doing here? Actually, where are we? Don't real. What you see is your consciousness made visible. We are currently exchanging words, mind to mind, mind to mind, of course, because you and I are single mind and soul. They have the whole thing outside. Then we go back to the inside. She's like, "What exactly is going on? Why is this happening?" As you just said, my previous so called inside your father, Naruto. In midst about my flame life was extinguished. However, death is not eternal for us Baju. Even if our flesh or soul perish over time, a cardinal of us will sprout somewhere and manage to return. Cardinal? No one knows how long it will take or where it will sprout, much less it would be inside his daughter, and this soon. The universe is full of mysteries, obviously. You may be born inheriting a sliver of my chakra, or it was just brought into by Uzumaki and Hyuga blood that flows within you. What do you think of this? The fact that this Karama is basically a carnal, basically a small portion of him,
Which
and
does make which does make sense because you're not going to get because trying to fully bring Kurama back would undermine his original sacrifice with Baryon mode. So I will respect and tip my hat to Kishimoto and how he was able to maneuver around that from Kodachi. But even if we are factoring that, we've hardly ever seen a situation where a Jinjuriki actively wielding a tailed beast have children. The closest we've seen was Miyoto Uzumaki with Tsunade's parent, and Kushina. And that was
there's one
only
that
up
one.
until.
Um, Kagro's the third Mazakage. He had
Oh,
kids.
Gara's.
The Mazakage in the Mist Village, because Kagura is his grandson.
Oh, but yeah, what I was referring to, we've never seen maiden or female Jinchuriki actually have children, but it's still the same process.
Yes, though I still think it's kind of weird that
Wait, I just
uh,
realized something. Even by Shinobi standards, Kagura died relatively young, like probably in his early to mid 20s.
he was a little bit older than Baruto.
Wait, Boruto now or Boruto Part 1?
Part one, because I think
How is he?
he was like
How is he?
17, 18 ish.
I get that we're in a time period where the average life expectancy was 30 something, but how was he able to sire a kid at 17? Especially with Obito pretty much making him a puppet via genjutsu for a decade.
Maybe it was before. I'm not sure, but they never. All we know about him is that he's his grandson. Don't know who his parents are. I would love to know because they never really delve into that particular character's backstory. Aside from the fact he was brainwashed and he was used by Obito. Aside from that, nothing much else to know about him. Aside from the fact he was accidentally killed by Itachi with his flame.
With the Amaterasu, he was burned alive.
Yeah, by accident because he didn't know what he was doing. I think it was the only person that Itachi's killed. But he killed him by accident. Everyone else he killed on purpose. And technically, I think he's the only person to actually successfully kill a Jurajiki host. But then the Toro escaped.
He did
Hi,
because
Nancy.
what's up, Najee? Because the majority either died from the tail beast being extracted or they succumbed to their wounds just prior.
And currently, the three-tailed Toro has gotten a host. As a matter of fact, prior to Kurama's death, just Naruto and Killer Bee were the only ones left who actually had tail beast. Gaara is still alive because of
Lady
light
Chio.
transfer. Yeah, because light transfer jutsu. Everyone else is dead. Though I kind of wish they would have brought back the host of Seven Tails.
Uh, yeah, I forget her name.
Yeah, the nickname was like the Lucky Seven.
Lucky Seven.
Yeah, I like that character. Especially, I love her character in that 19th season of the show, where it's like all about the tuning exams for all the characters who were not Naruto get promoted. It was like Sakura,
Ino and Choji,
Choji, and
Team
uh,
8.
Team Guy.
Wait,
Because
didn't
because
Kiba's
Rock Lee, 1010 got promoted to tuning, and Neji got promoted to Jonin.
okay?
Everyone got promoted to Jonin except for Neji. He was the only one promoted to Jonin, which I found that surprising. I think because how smart he is, that's probably the reason why he's promoted to Jonin. And probably also because it saved Gaara's life.
That is true.
Yeah, but she was a fun character. She was already tuning. She just want to make friends. And then she just meets up with.
I think it was Itachi. I want to say it was Itachi and Killer Bee and Kisame who captured her, or was it Hidan and Kakuzu? I can't remember.
It was Hidan Katsu. And Katsu was actually from the Hidden One-Fall Village, which they never really go into why he left.
Because he was tasked to assassinate Hashirama, he failed. Hashirama spared him, and he was trying. They were going to kill him. They were going to unalive him to dispose of him and get rid of the evidence. But
they apparently did autopsy. Apparently, he was over 100 years old.
All I know is that there was at least an interview or a commenter I've heard somewhere, more likely Naruto explained, shout out to him, where Kakuzu was tasked with assassinating Hashirama. The first Hokage. Hashirama beat the crap out of him, and yeah, he was branded a rogue in disgrace.
Yeah, and then he joins up with Ikatsuki at some point, but they did confirm he was over 100 years old because he had multiple hearts in his body prior to his death. All they say was he was over 100. They never gave the exact age. Because they did he was the only person who was killed from the Akatsuki. They actually did autopsy on. No one else.
Well, there is one of the...
They didn't do autopsy on Sasori or any member of the Akatsuki. Just Kakuzu.
What about the path... What about the Path of Pain Jiraiya brought back?
I think they wanted him, but he was one of the multiple parts of him, but one who's actually not like a spokesman for somebody else. Um, One who actually was the same person, not a puppet. I think he was the only one because Pain basically like, oh, the Pain we saw that was a puppet for another guy.
Yeah, because the majority of those vessels for the Sixth Path of Pain were based on people Jiraiya had encountered in his adventures, which he recontextualized in his book. The
Mm-hmm.
only one who wasn't was Nagato, and that's because after Nagato died in a double cross by Hanzo and Danzo, when they conspired,
Which no one's ever never actually blamed. Indirectly, Danzo started the current Akatsuki. He indirectly, not directly. Directly it was all Obito, but
yes,
indirectly it was Danzo.
Obito did try to recruit the Akatsuki prior using the Madara namesake, but Nagato and Yahiko said no and distanced themselves from Obito. Only for the double cross to happen, Yagito sacrifices himself in the attempt to save the others, and then Nagato manifests the power of the Renegon. And in his pain, grief, and hatred, they ally with Obito.
I think he had hints to this when Dry was training him that he actually built the of that, but this is like fully using it because he was no user of it. He thought, oh, this was the child prophecy at first, and then it turned out to be Naruto, which he got the name from, uh, like I think it was
Having a
like
bowl of
eating.
ramen, eating
Yes,
ramen one day.
and of course, what does Naruto like to eat? Ramen, his favorite food. Which I've heard that the reason Kishimo named that because he actually loves eating the little Naruto things, little swirl things you see like pictures of. That was on his. That was on. That was. I think that symbol of the Naruto piece of food that became the symbol of the.
Uzumaki clan.
Not only that, it was a village from Naruto's mom came from,
The Hidden
which
Rain? No, not the Hidden Rain. It was a smaller village.
which the league was allies with, and when the village was destroyed, they kept their symbol as a sign of respect for them. Because that swirl appears in all of the Hidden League uniforms. Like pretty much all of them. I know Naruto's got one of his. When they all went to the Third Great Ninja War, it was all on their backs. Like pretty much every have them. Like the swirl symbolized that village. Leaf was basically just leaf.
Pretty much.
Yep. So back to this. So it's like, well, since it already happened, doesn't matter how. Let's for accept circumstances to move forward. Don't you think? And she introduced herself. Nice to meet you, Karama. Adagur Hilari. And then she wakes up, though we'll get to exactly what her abilities are with this thing because it's kind of weird with this. Like, Karama, do something. And, ooh, you're back. And of course, attacked by these Ugasi people. And like they're going down, they're flying on a bird. Then, of course, they're surrounded by this guy. One thing I did notice for him, this guy here who's got like the crew cut, it almost looks like on his belly. They don't show it fully, but it looks like he has that very famous. It looks like he has Uzumaki seal on his belly. Because I noticed this in other chapters. It looks like he partially has the. You ever seen Uzumaki symbols like swirls, like little dots everywhere?
I
Whereas
have
like
noticed that.
yeah, I think this guy has like a version of it because I see like on his belly here, like he has like portion of it. Yeah, and then we have our calling for Crown. Don't be a spoil baby for me. The only way we can do something about this is you. It should be no brainer. Whether you use or quash my power is all up to you. You say it like this, but how am I supposed to? I can sense that your chakra is higher affinity than mine to mine than the others than other than your predecessors. More even than Naruto's. Okay, that is a product of recent times where somehow the daughter gets more powerful than the awesome father. That's a recent thing.
Yeah, even in Shonen, that's a relatively recent trope where, at least in certain aspects, the parent surpasses the father to a degree. but it's never been this overt. I mean, the most blatant example would be Gohan growing into his own in the Cell Saga. But even then, that had multiple storylines and conflicts building up to that.
I would say in the this also is a term of like American fiction where somehow the daughter is stronger than the father. Uh, this is comedy for American fiction too, for something like this. So it's a recent trope, but it's not a long running trope. So, and then we have Hillary fight him, and she gets her leg broken by this guy. Like she basically just twists her foot and breaks the basically the bones around her foot.
Yep.
And everyone shocked she is. Of course, she has a foot like the front of her backwards, and she like in so much pain. Yeah, you have Inogen throwing basic anything, and of course she blocks. And then of course she about to be surrounded by a freaking tree. And of course and of course everyone's like, "Give me a break, Inogen, don't." And of course Inogen gets blocked. He gets hit by the tree too. He gets freaking stabbed by this tree. And of course, it seems like Himari's about to be. And then her powers activate. Where it's almost similar to the Nine-Tailed Cloak, with hair going wild. Does it remind you of Nine-Tailed Cloak with this form?
It kind of reminds me. It kind of reminds me of Kushina's version, where her hair kind of sprouts and expands all over the place.
Well,
it reminds me more.
She does get her temper from her grandmother, so no surprise there, right?
Right.
At least she's not called the Red Tomato. that was a nickname she hated, and according to her, the only people who commented on her hair was Minato and Naruto. They were the only people.
Wait, what about Mikoto? No, wait, Mikoto mentored her, but she never complimented her hair. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. And you have her with the fangs and her whiskers going out, which the whiskers she gets from her father. One thing kind of interesting for her and Boruto is that they have two whiskers. Naruto had three on his face on both sides. Boruto and Himari got two. Maybe as when they get generations, the whiskers would disappear.
Maybe.
Yeah. And the whole thing of like him more look like her mom, that's no surprise because a lot of the time women look a lot like their mom. My niece looks exactly like my sister. And she's only 4. And she is spoiled. Yep. My niece is wonderful. All right, moving on to chapter 11. True power. That's a little playing something from Star Wars. Like, feel the unlimited power. Ian McDermott go over the top, right? I actually read an article when he was brought into prequels. He initially thought they were going to recast his character with a younger actor. And then he got brought in.
Like,
I got to admit, for Lucas, that was a smart move on his part.
Say what you will about him being surrounded by a lot of yes men at the time of the prequel. Say what you will about that, because he was going through a bitter divorce at the time. Mm-hmm. But keeping the original Palpatine, I argue it carried the whole trilogy.
I would say he's probably one character who was not affected by anything else what Lucas was doing. Because you watch him, you can definitely say, yeah, this is the same Emperor from Return of the Jedi.
Same guy.
Not the same guy. You can tell by the performance. And then when they did the special edition version of I think it was Empire Strikes Back, they replaced the original actors who played the Emperor with him, which I heard that was actually a very positive idea to do. Because if you saw what the Emperor looked like in the Empire Strikes Back, it's like he was disfigured. And was played by a woman. I don't know how her family felt about the fact that she got replaced with Ian McDermott. Either they didn't care or who knows.
She just got snubbed. But That's probably something we could look into for a video, but I'm pretty sure she handled the situation with relative grace, all things considered.
Yeah, I also heard a story where James Earl Jones refused to sign a picture of Darth Vader for a long. He had Chuck Dixon when he was a janitor in movie theaters. Was years ago when Star Wars first released. He mentioned in his podcast. We had George Lucas. He asked James Earl Jones for autograph. He said no, and he got an argument with him over this picture. And I heard eventually he reluctantly gave in to signing pictures of Vader. He pointed out though he couldn't sign it because he was not in the suit.
He was just he just did a voiceover.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think it was and it was a British actor. He since passed away. He passed away years ago. A guy who Lucas he felt disrespected by Lucasfilms. I know his first name was Peter. Do you remember the act? Do you remember the guy who played Vader?
Hold on, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah,
it was Jane it was Jake Lloyd, David Prowse.
yeah, Dave Prowse. He was a suit actor. I never met him before he passed away, but I'm surprised Comic Con never invited him to Comic Con because this is the guy who was a suit actor for Vader, and he was never invited.
And fun fact, James Earl Jones did not reprise the role when you see the no in Revenge of the Sith. That wasn't James Earl. That was Gene Bryant.
Gene Bryant. I thought it was Hayden Christian.
No, according to Google, that was Gene Bryant who did the role.
But James Jones did come back to character for Rebels. That was him.
Okay.
He came back for that, and he came back for Rogue One.
Yes, but in terms of back to the iconic no scene after Vader is put in the suit, the actual one to do the voiceover, that was Gene Bryant, allegedly. I
don't know if Dave Prowse reprised the role of Vader for Rogue One. I have no idea if he did, because I think he passed away in 2020, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he passed away on November 28th, 2020.
Yes, and Rogue One came out in 2016, so he probably didn't due to his fallout with Lucasfilm. They replaced him, but I don't know if they did or not. I have not checked, but at least they brought back James Earl Jones to play Vader. The only thing they could tell is, don't choke on your aspirations. That is a funny line. And
yeah, David
an awesome badass scene where he's like slicing up rebel troops. I heard that was going to be a reshoot, and I gotta admit, that's a reshoot. Everybody agreed that was perfect for the movie.
Right now, Najee, I just got through my master's degree, and I started a new job. That's why I've been busy the past couple of months. And Nick, what you been up to? Najee asked in the chat.
Well, I went to Metricon last month. Most of did a lot of videos on my YouTube channel and not working very much because my work out my hours because stuff. It wasn't due to any bad performance because we have a lot of people at my work. We have 111 people on the payroll of my job at McDonald's. Which some of them are going to go over to a new location that opened up just today.
Hey, man, I wish you the best of luck, all things considered, man.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get more hours soon. I actually worked today, and I wasn't supposed to work here, so I have a day off. I requested to come in because I need more hours because I have bills to pay.
Don't we all?
Yep. So back to chapter. So Imar gets out of the tree that she was sent to be in. Of course, you have Enogen still with the thing stick out his back, like it got stabbed. Imar looks around, and of course, like her leg has been healed. And then she picks up Enogen off the spike, and he's magically healed. Yes, Himori's got healing. She has healing powers. Mind you, she is not a medical ninja. She is not a medical ninja. This comes from the powers of Karama. not from her regular chakra. We don't know exactly what her big abilities are, but this is basically the ability she got from Karama.
Yeah, because I do remember she did have. There were two separate arcs where she did do like a little introductory program where she was essentially tasked to go to the academy. She never made her mind to be a shinobi. If she did, she decided after Naruto Hinata's disappearance in the time skip. But
Mhm.
prior to that, it was they kind of gave her the Gohan treatment where it was indecisive whether she was going to be a shinobi or not, where she was very indecisive.
Yeah, and the fact that some people are hoping because her brother basically is a shinobi. One thing I always appreciate about Boruto, he's not much of an idiot like his father was when he was a kid, and plus he's not a pervert. Though Naruto wasn't as pervert as much as his master was.
Oh
Right?
no, 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 no.
Oh, and here's the thing. Guess how many times Naruto ever peeped?
Three.
I only can think of one. I only think two. One, he did it for a filler arc, and another was a lead into a Road Ninja movie. I can't think what the airtime was.
Wait, what about the one with the magazines, the bathhouse gags with Jiraiya?
Dry did the peeping, not him.
Oh, okay.
Because one was a filler arc, was involving the land of birds, where he sees a woman. Of course, they think that the feud lord is a guy, given how the person's dressed. And then he sees, ooh, what a pretty lady. And this pretty lady is the feudal lord. He has no idea about that. And then he's like arrested and presumably killed. But yeah, it was all plot by the guy who was supposed to be supporting her, part of these wandering ninja to take over the country. And well, and it turns out that her childhood friend was actually in love with her. And apparently the guy they thought was antagonist was not really. He was actually trying to help them. And he had basically supporting her along with her childhood friend, and nothing came of it. Nothing mentioned about the Land of Birds since. There was a filler arc from season 4 for the show,
Hmm.
if you remember that one. You know, as they know, is Land of Birds because, well, birds show up to visit Sonate, which it's like they're kind of like a poorish country, but yet somehow they're able to have a feudal lord. Yeah,
Well,
and
it is
yeah,
a filler arc, so I didn't really question it too much.
yeah, and it was I think it was also an arc where they asked. She also asked Naruto to stay teach ninja. She said no because he still do his own thing. One of like two times where a female leader kind of one of like three times I could think of where a female leader type person kind of falls for Naruto and Naruto's oblivious to it. This also happened in two movies. It happened the first one, and it happened the first Shippuden movie.
Wait, I thought in the first Naruto movie that was an actress for makeout tactics, and only Kakashi recognized it was her.
That was from the show. In the movie, her whole thing, she was an actress. Naruto was a fan of hers, and they had escorted back home for the Land of Snow. And it was implied maybe she had a thing for him, but she's like 18, he's like 12. Maybe she thought of like a little brother to him, and like, ooh, do you want a picture with her? But instead, she took a picture with him when he was sleeping.
As he was unconscious after the fighting.
Yes. And he's like, oh man. I thought
And
it was
only
so funny.
and
And then
only
was that priestess who I thought basically like if you look at her, she is like based entirely. She's a ripoff of Hinata. It's like the only thing changed about was her eyes and skin color. Remember that priestess from the first Shift movie?
Oh, I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah, I first saw her like, wait, she's like a ripoff of Hinata. And then like, oh, she wants a child, and like Naruto says yes. And then of course Sakura was like, what? And nothing is mentioned of it at all. Nothing. Because it's one of the movies. Movie's not canon.
It's a one-off, so yeah, they kind of had a little fun with this one.
Yeah. So basically,
Back to
like,
this.
yeah, back to this. Yeah, everyone's wondering, like, where are these parents coming from? Like, give them the hospital. So she doesn't fix properly in the hospital because she's not a trained medical jutsu. So you guys get away, considering after her. And then you have Shigadai pick up Inojin, and Chocho basically is obviously worried about her. I think Chocho sees herself as like a big sister to Himawari, given how well they my guess is because of the way they're doing the training, that she sees her like a little sister.
Maybe.
I would say probably Sada is probably the same thing too, where she thinks of Himawari as like a little sister. I'm not sure what's Sasumari, but I'm sure probably Sada probably thinks of her like a little sister. So, all power responsibility. And then she has her wild hair thing. It's like, and then it comes like, it's like, I know you guys are complete idiots. But which is why it's incomprehensible that drastically lowers your judgment about time and again. Yep. And then she walks up, punches him on the gut. She says, shut up, punch! Like she's One Punch Man. And he gets knocked, he flips over. And then she does this. Whoosh. Sends him flying. And she's like, as the face of, you made me mad when you stabbed my friend. And then her hair turns into like claws. And then she starts forming a tail beast bomb with her hair. I'm like, okay. You know, I know what this is. It's because this was mentioned. This was brought up, I believe it was by Killer B when Naruto was trying out the Rasengan. And it was revealed that the Rasengan is based upon the Tail Beast Bomb. A very powerful jutsu, I believe only used by the Tail Beast. Her using this is a bit surprising to say the least, and she launches right at him. And then, boom! You think, is he dead? No. He does lose a lot of his clothes. Don't worry, he's still wearing shorts. But he did lose a lot of his shirt. Somehow he survived. And then we see more of his undershirt. We definitely see, oh yeah, 3 little dots. Like the Uzumaki seal. And then it looks like he headbutts her. Yes, he headbutts a 12-year-old girl. You know, as I know she's 12 because I believe that pre-time skip she was 10.
Yeah, her and Boruto are about 2 years apart. So I'd say about 12.
She was 10. Boruto's not 14. She is 12. And given what her size is, I can buy she's 12. You think so?
I would believe so.
Yeah. And also, for some reason, he's got the swirl on his back. And he's one of the bad guys. I'm going to show you this because this happened here. I don't know if you can see it. Well, you have it's on page 22 of chapter 11. You can see the little dots from the Uzumaki symbol. My guess maybe based on Barton Arts, I'm not sure. And then his clothes grow back. Just by sheer magic, his clothes grow back. Not sure how. Goes in the claw marks. Just to move closer to Sadara. Okay. And then he mentions, you, those eyes of yours. Jura told me about them. They're sharing. Jura. Chidori is what the attack is called. I was wondering how hard is control, but it seems like your eyes like yours are need to master it. What is up with this guy? I'm thinking Jura. Like, who is that? And then Conrad's like, he never answered your questions. Who are you? What is your connection to Sasuke Uchiha? And he has no idea what he's talking about. And his eyes go Renegade. It's like, who am I? I'm trying to figure that out. That's why I come to Konoha. Konoha protect Sadara. Hisaku's I think I know. And then she gets like, And then he crawls up behind her and grabs her leg. And then looks like Konohamaru gets burned. Actually, it's some other guy. Then I think it's supposed to be Shikamaru. It could be Konohamaru. Yeah, it's Konohamaru. Throwing over Sengun at him. And then he changes to Wind Style Res the Brigade. And it's blocked. Sasumori is hit. And then we see the continued fight between Himawari and this other guy. And then part of Himawari's shirt, this is basically just a side of her shirt. Don't worry, it's not the whole thing. And basically she's hurt. And then she uses her own healing power to heal her side wound. He's like, what is astonishing healing power for beyond human or Juriki level? It's almost what we Budger possess. So, is he saying that he's one of the tail beast? Or he's one of the 10 tails?
From what I'm interpreting in chapter 13, we'll later reveal this, spoilers by the way. But from what I've interpreted is that the more code created and exploited the claw grimes, the more the 10 tails would evolve and become sentient. So I feel like that's basically how I interpret it. Again, I could be wrong.
Yeah, but this is a 10 tails. Because the way it's explained in Naruto Shippuden, that the tail beasts combined together for the tail beasts, which basically are Kagura, the woman who they explore more in this series than they did in Shippuden.
Yes.
Which I found that kind of weird. It's like they introduce her toward the very end. She pops a few episodes, gets sealed. She gets distracted by Naruto's reverse sexy jutsu, which also somehow Sakura is intimidated by it because they transform a bunch of handsome guys. And then she gets sealed just by touching her shoulder. Yep. So then we have Kawaki and Delta basically flying. Then Boruto comes flying too. And he comes in, saves Himawari. He's like, you have no idea who I am. Satoru Uchiha. So I ask you, who are you? What will I gain if I devour you? And she's about to be devoured. And then we see a frog with a tablet. I bet you're like, what? A frog with a tablet? Well, they explain in 13 what the heck this is. So, and then the Toad communicates with Boruto. In position, Satoru Uchiha's location is confirmed. Symbol is square. And Naruto does flying Rasengan Jutsu.
Flying Raijin.
Yeah, flying. And then he takes out Sasuke's sword, slices the guy's arm, freeing Sada from the tree. And then, of course, the chapter ends with, you crafty thing. Uzukaki Boruto. And you read this chapter, you're like, Boruto, where the heck have you been the whole chapter? Fine. And then move on to the last chapter was released before the release chapter came out. Thorn Soul Bub with a color image of Sasumori. And her dress is purple. They have Boruto just... And I gotta notice, basically, it's like, at this size, because he's supposed to be about, I'm thinking 14, 15, he's about the same height as Naruto was during Shippuden. Have you noticed that about him? You there, Jahi? And of course, they begin to fight with him. He blocks the guy's arm with a sword. Then he ends up with the claw marks where he disappears. And then we see Kawaki and Delta floating. Okay, and of course you have people talking to each other. Everyone wondering what the heck is going to have Konohamaru with Himawari. Konohamaru is like, what are you plotting, Boruto? Showing up here like nothing's changed. Don't you understand your position? And so I was like, stop, Master Konohamaru. You see, Boruto has shall be dead or worse. Watch out. The enemy is freely manipulating claw marks like code. Who knows we could pop up? Yeah, looks like it. Hey, your sensor unit. You focus on the claw marks. Claw slash move chakra. What the? You're actually right to Baruto. Yeah. So plus his moves of his. They're related, aren't they? To her father becoming a tree. And that's how Konohama finds out Sasuke turned into a tree. Wait a second, a tree you first had with Mogi. The guy came into being using all man Sasuke's chakra as a source. No concerns with that. Or hold back. Just focus taking him down in order to save old man Sasuke. What's going on? How's your information, Baruto? I said focus, Master Konohama, or you'll die. Hey, I sense chakra. Stay calm. Where? Can't tell. It's everywhere. And then the creatures are back. Whatever these things are back. So what's the deal? Sadara, cut the numbers. Since you're the target of the hooded guy, you just find the ones that come for you. Roger. So summary to me. Let's wait for them. And they have a massive brawl. And then the guy comes back, coming right through one of these number guys. Well, thanks to the black thing behind him. And Baruto comes in, pulls the first thing on his back, and injures him. And then, like, a Q pops up. He apparently picks up this ability, and of course, then he just goes through. Baruto escape the sky. I'll drive about him thinking who shows. Nobody can, not giving up. He's like, I'm going to use the Shinko at max input. I'll kill him with one blow. Who's it go? The energy. The energy of critical force. Basically, it's the best way to describe it. It's like equivalent to atomic bomb. And of course, the hallmarks everywhere. We're setting up barrier. And then Sarah tries to be consumed once again. And then she uses Chidori on him. Then she, while being cold to him, then she does a judo flip on him. And she's like, be honest, it ain't perfect. But now or never. And then she uses the ability to create this big, huge explosion. And then, of course, you have the guy pinned out by Kawaki. Like, hey, you look to be in pain. Let me ease your suffering. And then, of course, the guy just disappears, or he's presumably killed. Kawaki, nice work, huh? And then we have this bulb show up. What the heck is this? Well, sure it is. And then we see Kaji Koji. Yeah, he's the one basically Baruto's talking to. We'll get more explanation about this in a minute. So I was saying what I saw before. It's a thorn soul bulb. Bulb. What is this thing? I was told something that it would help my master. It would turn into a tree. Let me go, Kawaki, or I'll cut off your arm. He would tell me. Then Baruto gets like shot through the chest, and then Sandor gets shot too. Which he gets shot through the arm, not through the chest. And then the bulb gets taken away, and he's captured by this other guy, and in the chapter. You still there, Jay Heat?
I'm still here. I was just listening in.
Yeah. So, what do you think of these 3 chapters?
So far, it builds up the tension. The Shinjin come into prominence. Himawari gets her moment to shine. All in all, Volume 3 was a pretty good volume. I still believe Volume 2 is stronger, largely because you still have the intrigue of omnipotence, and you get more of Boruto's 3 years on the run. But man, does chapter 13 fix that problem?
Yep. So, shall we move on to 13?
Indeed, we shall.
All right. Chapter called
Last chance. Anyone who wants to leave and does not want to avoid being spoiled, since the chapter just released or will release tomorrow, depending on your time zone. So if you want to avoid spoilers, this is your last chance to walk away. You have been warned. Nick.
All right, you got a spoiler tag?
All right, let me go ahead and add one right quick.
Just so we know we're in spoiler territory.
All right, go.
There we go. So, new chapter called Presidio. I think it's how you pronounce it. And then we have the guy who's after him or using Renegon. It's like, you're an intriguing lad. I regret doing this, but farewell, Boruto. And then it looks like Bug showed up. A guy who looks like Bug. He's got like this thing on his face. He comes out this guy's shirt. When you saw this guy, does he look like Bug?
He does.
Except Bug is trapped in a tree.
Yes, he absorbed Bug and took his likeness. I believe as of this chapter, they called him Manashi, which is a play on a type of bug in Japan. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, my guess is these black clothes must be like portals. That's based upon Code's claw marks. And by the way, Code has not been in this he's only appeared like 3 times in 13 chapters.
Like he was getting his butt kicked across most of Volume 1. He had one appearance of Volume 2, like right at the beginning of Chapter 8, where he pretty much, gets out of Dodge and flees the dimension when the Ten Tails split to create the Senju. And after that, he has not made another appearance so far.
He's not dead. They have not confirmed he's dead, just that he's disappeared. So the Bug lookalike tells them, like, based on her investigation, it seems that Boruto has an accomplice. It's all about the source bulb, and then he just disappears, and then we have Boruto going to sleep, and we go into a flashback. So I know it's a flashback because, well, he's not in the village. So, and then we have, he's looking around, it's like he's got, of course, Boruto's on the run. Like, I found you, Boruto. And then we see the Toad. There are roughly 20 shinobi in the area. You're trapped, and yet you can't kill innocent folk. Who are you? Relax now, foe. If I were part of the search party, I would have alerted them already. Well, and engaging you in small talk, huh? And he's like, what's your motive? Let's get here fast. Touch the Toad's back. Is a tiny waiver. So he touched the Toad, and then he gets transported Kajikoji is. Yeah, summoning jutsu. And Kajikoji reveals that this location is one of Orochimaru's abandoned bases. I do remember this base popping up in the Naruto anime. Do you remember this one? Well,
I do.
I think this was location of the. I think this was the Hidden Sound Village.
I want to say so as well.
Yes. So, him using one of Orochimaru's bases makes sense. Orochimaru's clearly not using them anymore, so why not? I remember this pop up a lot in filler, and Naruto himself actually went here in the filler episodes. But he thinks he sees Orochimaru, but it's actually some guy posing as him. And the whole thing with the body he was possessing, they actually do have the sister of that person pop up in the filler episode. They go after him. They break into the hidden sound village, and they break there. There's nobody there because the village is gone. Because Orochimaru turned them all into experiments. How he started his village, don't know. Where they came from, don't know. There's a lot of mysteries surrounding Hidden Sound Village, like where did they come from? And I know Orochimaru created them, but where the people came from? And though they do kind of explain this, where they were recruited from other tribes in the area, but they'll go into detail exactly where all the symbols come from. Like, there's a lot of mysteries surrounding Hidden Sound Village. and also why it just evaporated. And somehow it's still around in Boruto.
I mean, it's considered a political safe haven. I mean, they got Mitsuki and Konoha, and Orochimaru is a good source of intel in the criminal underworld, and he can't be killed by conventional means. So,
Yeah, and I think Orochimaru, like, he was doing this thing for a long time where every 3 years he had to get a new body because his body was because the way he kind of explained it is that when a body takes over, um,
it rots
after
from the
3 years,
inside out.
yes, because of some forbidden jutsu he did to himself, and also because he was obsessed with the forbidden jutsu. His whole thing was he had to know every single jutsu, including forbidden jutsu in existence. They show strictly flashbacks, and he had the potential to become Hokage. He was suggested by the elders and Hidan, uh, Hatsu, the third Hokage,
Hiruzen,
recommended Hiruzen. He recommended Minato, who was much better choice than Orochimaru.
admittedly.
Get back he's young, and of course people was like, "Oh, you're student. Why not?" And I think the reason why he didn't pick him was because, despite the fact he did train him for a long time, at that point he lost his trust in him. That's my
Well,
guess, because he'd been doing some illegal stuff.
and you can also count Hiruzen, although he never made a direct move to counter Danzo because he didn't want to risk a civil war in the village. He was aware of Danzo's political maneuvering and machinations, and Orochimaru being a willing associate in those machinations, even including his Sharingan arm after the
Yes, and
massacre.
despite the fact, yeah, after the massacre, he did tell Danto to disband the Foundation. He didn't. He ignored the third Hokage, and he did his own thing. And when the Hidden Leaf Village was attacked, uh, during the pain attack, he had the Foundation hide in their base the whole time, proving the fact how much of a coward he is. Whenever I saw him in shipping it, oh look, it's idiot Danzo, because he was a complete idiot. The guy did some of the stupidest and disgustingest thing in the whole series, and I think it was done on purpose.
Mm.
So basically, Kaji Koji explains, by the way, they tell us a scientific ninja tool. He's structurally integral to the thing of real toad, except man-made. I manipulated him using my chakra. That was me you were talking to. Not told himself, who are you? You seem to know me. Does this ring a bell? The mask of Kaji Koji. Like, mask, no way. I'm Kaji Koji, an artificial being by Amando. He does not bring in the fact he's Jiraiya's clone. He does not tell Baruto that. Those that be curious, he does not tell he's Jiraiya's clone. Now, I know Naruto does know that. I don't know. I think Baruto might know that, or he forgot.
Again, it depends on whether or not you count the time slip arc as canon, because that originally was going to be a movie to celebrate 20 years of the franchise, but it was condensed into a mini arc for the animation team instead.
Which
So,
I thought was really good. The arc itself was really. I didn't think the animation was terrible in the arc.
yeah, the animation was subpar, but even if this did get a movie, it would just be a retread of the one where Naruto meets Minato from the past and the events of that movie. I forget the exact name of that movie,
Blood
but
Tower.
Blood Tower, thank you. Yeah, it just would have been a retread of Blood Tower. The only difference is the roles are reversed. Naruto's being the father instead. Well, I won't even say it's a role reversal. I guess it really would just be the exact a copy and paste of Blood Tower. The only difference is Boruto's a kid instead of in his prime.
And I do appreciate doing this. I like the way they dealt with the whole aftermath was that they erased everybody's memories of seeing Baruto, and I think they should have done this in the movie instead of erasing Naruto's memories. They should erase everybody's memories of him, so he's not influencing the past. That's the kind of thought. That was one thing I didn't like the movie. And I'm like, since when does Minato know a jutsu to erase memories? I never knew him to do like Minato was the character never really explored very much in the main series. Like, okay, he created a Rasengan. He's Naruto's father. He married a beautiful woman who's Naruto's mom. Fourth Kage. They show me a badass, yellow Flash. But there's not there's a whole bunch of stuff mystery surrounding like there's a lot surrounding this character we never got really explored. Except
maybe,
for flashbacks.
Maybe it would have been better to have Sasuke and Itachi's father. I forget his name at the time of the stream, but it may have been easier to have a new Chia or even Sasuke and Itachi's father be a part of the team. That way he could be the one to wipe everyone's memory via Genjutsu.
Yeah, instead they had the fathers of Choji and Kiba. Not Kiba. The one with the insects.
Shino.
I'm surprised they didn't have a Chia part of that team.
It would have made sense.
It felt pretty random. Minato's team that he had there. Do you think it was pretty random?
I do, at least my opinion, it was random. Again, it could have been the
I believe
choice.
He's met Choji's father at some point. I don't think he's met Shino's father.
There's a lot about Minato that's never, like you said, that was never really explored upon.
I kind of wish they had a whole episode dedicated to him. Instead, he's like a supporting character in someone else's episode. Like the whole thing with basically Naruto's mom. He's a supporting character her episode. He's never had a focus episode. Oh yeah, he's also a supporting character in Obito's episode. Yeah, so Kaj is like, keep out one thing. Have you been Uzumaki Boruto? Yeah, so you can apply. I'm reading this. I read this like, wait, was he immune to the omnipotence? Because some people confirmed they were immune to it were, I think Kawaki. I would say Sadara. Susumu was implied to be. I would probably say you could kind of say maybe Kawaki because he did it. But Taichi Koji being into it? That's interesting. I think the reason why he wasn't really affected by it because he barely knows Naruto. He barely knows Boruto.
So he wouldn't be impacted either way.
Yeah. So, and it's like, you know about the omnipotence? He doesn't know what the omnipotence is, but the way he's described it is like, yeah, he does know of it, but he does not know the term omnipotence. He suspects Omanda was responsible for it, even though technically it was Kawaki who instigated it. Which, by the way, the person who instigated it, Ada, she's not been featured very much in this. She's featured at the beginning, but then she's like not seen after that.
The last time, I think it was volume 1. The last time we saw her, like right at chapter 3 or 4.
It was like right early on, and then she's not been seen since then. I'm pretty sure she's fine. I'm sure they'll probably eventually go back to her. So, like, he doesn't know a lot about limits, but however, I do have an application results that brought about. So, the day you chased your village, it appears every memories of you, Valkyrie, were flipped. Now, this is something they don't really show in the series. Like, they show that in Elite Village was affected by it, but is the rest of the world affected by it? Like, the Hidden Sand or the Hidden Mist, are they affected by this? Is it contained in the village? We don't know the extent of basically how this has affected the ninja world. All we know is that the village is affected by it. We don't know if any other place around the world is affected by this flip.
Yeah, and that remains to be seen because this could lead to an opportunity where I'm not going to say Kishimoto's going to outright downplay it, but at the very least, it could be a situation like, oh, there is a way to bypass omnipotence. It just depends on the actual wish that was made. So maybe Boruto can regain his name and people's memory of him if Kawaki relinquishes his wish willingly, which we both know he would never do.
because he's obsessed with killing Boruto.
Again, if this ends up coming to pass in a later chapter, let it be known I called it. But in the context of this stream, this is just a guess on my end. We have no idea where Kishimoto's going with this.
There are two people I'm curious that affected by this. Gara, of course, his son's team, and the current Mazakage. Are they affected by this? Because I highly doubt Ada can affect the entire plan. I think a power is that powerful to affect the whole entire world of the ninja world. I highly doubt it stretched out that far.
Remains to be seen. But
Yes,
again, the most interaction, even if we're counting the anime in its entirety for part one, the Mizukage only interacted with Boruto a handful of times.
yeah, he's not friends, so he just knows him.
Yeah, he officially declared Boruto a leader for help defeating Kagura and Shizuna, excuse me, and the punks who stole the seven deadly swords.
The one who claimed to be the new seven swords, even though they're just kids.
So yeah, he was declared a hero by Chojuro for that. He was declared a hero for his role in that.
Oh, there's also the leader of the Hidden Stone.
Anoki, but he died at the end of the Akuta arc.
The successor.
The Tsuchikage, Kurotsuchi. Okay, yeah, that is true, because for the events of the Akuta arc, Boruto and Sarada were originally supposed to be disbarred from being shinobi in their ninja headbands, but they were spared from that because the Tsuchikage Kurotsuchi agreed to drop the charges or say, hey, they're heroes, they really helped us out, and they were doing so while supporting their friend.
Yep.
Yeah, we're having an alliance, but I'm willing to look the other way if you do not disbar or effectively demote these kids for essentially doing the right thing.
Yep. One thing I've noticed, though, one village that, as far as I can tell, they've never actually shown it in the main series of Boruto. The Hidden Sand.
And the Hidden Cloud.
Yeah, those two never seen. I find that weird. It featured heavily in Shippuden, the Hidden Sand. And Cloud, obviously, but no appearance of it in the main series. I thought that was kind of weird. They never went a trip there at all. Nothing.
I can understand from an aesthetic choice because the Hidden Sand is literally just a top across a massive desert. There's not really anything appealing or that would make it stand out in terms of visual for the artwork in a manga setting. Whereas the Hidden Cloud, you got a bit more to work with. But even the anime did something with the Hidden Sand in Shippuden.
Yeah, there's a lot of flashbacks for Hidden Sand. A lot. Both in Naruto and in Shippuden. Cloud, not a lot, but I'd say about almost the same amount.
I'd say so as well.
But most of it was focused on Killer B and A.
And I think we got a few moments as well.
Yeah, and A. At times, A was an idiot. The guy would run it through walls. Like, run right through it. He would never use a door. He was nothing more than, a lot of times he was big oof. Who had an obsession with working out. Because when you first see him, he's lifting weights. And I think he's the only Kage to ever be shown lifting weights.
Now you mention, I think so as well.
And the person who succeeded him, he's appeared a few times. I think he's one of Killer B students. The guy who succeeded him.
Darwi, yeah, he appeared for the movie.
I believe they call him C. Because they call him by the first letter of his name.
Wait. Yeah, Darwi's the one who became the new Raikage. The one who... Are you talking about the one who has a sucker in his mouth? Or are you talking about...
The one who succeeded A. Because I think he kept the whole idea of calling himself by his first letter of his name.
I'm almost positive his name was Darwi, unless I'm confusing him.
So they call him D.
Okay.
I never really got exactly why the people call the leader when they just went not by his title, but his name, call him just by his first letter of his name. I thought that was kind of weird.
Probably because he had probably because they had a similar namesake. Because I believe the previous Raikage was A's father,
Yes.
and since he was always going to be, since regardless of the mantle, he was always going to be compared to him. Hey, just call me A. I mean, there's no reason to
I
be so
think
formal.
also this may have based upon American punk gangs, based upon the dialogue. Like, I would say a lot of it's based upon jive. Would you agree? A little bit of jive?
Possibly to an extent.
Like, the way they talk, it's similar to American jive. B, I don't think so, but a lot of the other people do talk that way. A doesn't. He talks normally, but some of the members I've seen do talk in jive. Like, the one sucks a lot. I think he talks in jive. B kind of, but all he does is rap.
And it's not even good rapping half the time. It rhymes, but it's not good.
Yeah. And it seems like this is the one village where, like, they kind of look like, it's like, oh, let's basically make a village of, like, black people. Kind of. Except, like, one person that I think is white, but mostly black. I guess he figured, though, why not? Nothing wrong with this. It's never drawn attention to. It's just that basically that's how it is when it comes to Hidden Cloud.
And yes, Tevia, we are interested in covering Demon Slayer for Anime Blaze, but we are currently working on JoJo Bizarre Adventure. But yes, Demon Slayer is on the list.
So they basically Kajikogi explains that about Ishii, like, I was still following orders, like, because he knows who he is because he killed Ao, the former bodyguard of Mazakage, who somehow survived the Third Ninja War. Despite the fact feeling he blew up and he was the only survivor, which I still question, like, okay, how the heck did he survive an explosion like that?
Okay, because let's break this down. He's at the Alliance HQ. He's holding.
I think they show him basically touching that big globe.
Yes, he's holding the water barrier. He's holding it up. He's actually sensing the Biju bomb approaching them. He's practically at ground zero when this Biju bomb makes impact. The blast pretty much expands around and unalives everyone else, Shikaku and Inuichi included. So Ao is basically blown to pieces at ground zero, and somehow he's buried, not only buried under rubble, but barely clinging to life over the course of 2.5 days before the Infinite Tsukiyomi is undone and the Alliance find him.
The only reason why it took so long because that was active. Because Naruto could not go out and rescue him because that thing was active. So the only way to prevent him, Sakura, and Kakashi from being affected by it was Sasuke's that big purple creature he basically
the Susanoo.
Yes. I'm surprised that protected him.
I mean, because basically that was the Infinite Tsukiyomi. The whole purpose of the Infinite Tsukiyomi is to prep and harvest the planet for a chakra fruit. I guess he was caught in a vine or a piece of the tree, and he just fed off its nutrients for 2 days, for a day and a half.
Because I'm wondering, like, okay, so they're underneath this thing, and I'm like, okay, so my only guess is that the only reason why these three are not starving after 2 days, my guess is Kakashi and Sakura had rations.
Pretty much.
I would definitely buy them eating rations for 2 days over them just sitting there for and because Sasuke, I think after a while he would get tired. Like, I would say the rations might kept him awake. I'm sure that Naruto slept.
Yeah.
Slept on that thing. Sasuke probably had to stay awake the whole time for 2 days. Half the time I wonder, like, how the heck is he moving around if they're basically awake for 24 hours?
Yeah, because they had to wait, not only fight for 2 days straight after rushing over to the main battlefield from Konoha and the mystical waterfalls, respectively. Then they fight Madara, then Kaguya, and then after feeding off feeding off adrenaline and six patch chakra, fight amongst themselves in the iconic final battle, only to get their arms blown up. round two, thank you, only for them to get their arms blown off and literally barely sustaining themselves
And I
over the.
believe also during the fight because Naruto had this Sage 6 Pass mode, and some of the balls he had were destroyed in this battle. I wouldn't say all of them. I would say most of them were destroyed. Because they do
Yes.
mention that the most of these things were destroyed. But the weird thing is, after the war, he's never shown using these balls ever again. Like in the last, nope. And for some reason, he knows if you see the last, the Rasengan is orange. Did you notice that? When he uses like Rasengan Young Only, it's blue. And
Yes.
it's orange. And
Yes.
literally, there's no explanation why it's orange. Or why the heck his the Rasengan Shuriken he's able to use no problem outside of Sage mode.
Again, he might have had some leftover six pass chakra left. Maybe not enough to actually be
That or the fact he's
noticeable.
been training for 2 years.
And the fact he's been training for 2 years.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay, but while Nick's take care of that, what I was pretty much saying was I was pretty much saying how, yeah, I was at the grand is literally at the fault line of this explosion, buried under rubble, completely encased while the Infinite Tsukiyomi is going on. And when it's finally undone, they finally find him as the sole survivor buried on top of all that rubble. After literally being buried in debris for 2 days on top of a Biju blast. Either the even if we factor the Infinite Tsukiyomi, realistically, I could see if it was a couple of hours, or just it's just real. It's a stretch. It's a retcon. Realistically, Al shouldn't have survived that. This really should have been someone else. Don't worry, Tevia. We'll get you caught up in just a moment. We're just waiting for Nick to come back. But now where was I? As I was saying, yes, as a parallel to Zabuza and Haku, it does work for what the theme of the arc or the Owl arc is trying to convey, the theme, narrative, and Boruto's development and maturity since the events of the movie recap and since Mujina Bandits. It does work from a plot standpoint, even though Al being the traitor and the one working under Kara's employ, Al specifically is a stretch, but you could get away with it. And hold on. There we go.
Sorry about that. I had to take care of some business.
Indeed. I was just reconveying my point that, yeah, realistically, Al shouldn't have survived being buried in rubble for 2 days straight after being blown in half.
Yes, if he survived, why couldn't Shikamaru and Ino's father survive? If I remember correctly, Shikamaru's father, I think he was the chief of staff of the army.
No, the leader of the alliance was the Raikage.
Yeah, I'm talking about chief of staff under the Razakage, the one who worked with him. I think
Yes, it was Shukaku and Inoichi. Excuse me, I almost said Inojin. Inoichi was head of the sensory division.
Yeah, and because he was one running the base. Because I remember also A's assistant was in that base too. That beautiful tall woman.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised she stayed there. Like, well, she didn't need in the battle, but she could have just evacuated. They could have just, I guess if it was coming instantly, but they could have evacuated the base.
Yeah, because she did have a teleportation technique, not as efficient as the Flying Raijin, but there was time to get them out of there.
But no, it's like I think it came too quickly.
From what my understanding, yes.
Like they could have just transported the non-essential personnel out of there. I would say the only people who could stay behind is Ao, Shikamaru's father, Ino's father, her, and maybe a couple others, but the whole base should not have died. They should have, if they knew this was, if they knew that that something like this would happen,
and fire Biju blast.
They should evacuate the base. And I know during Boruto they had a retcon where somehow the Hidden Leaf Village was attacked during the Fourth Ninja War.
I think they were referencing a filler scene where a bunch of bandits were taking advantage, and then the women of the village had to step up while the
Shinobi but away. The way they describe it seems like it happened like one of the battles somehow stretched out there, because I do not remember this happening in the main Naruto series because they
I
saw it was like the village was attacked, like fires everywhere, like maybe there was major battle here, but not really because a lot of the battles over the course of 3 days, it was like in the middle of like wastelands.
and neutral territory, but unless we're counting the feudal lords themselves, because the Zetsu did make moves to target the feudal lords. Unless we're counting them, the closest the war ever got to Konoha directly was Sasuke finding the Reaper Master to revive the four dead and sealed Hokage, and the filler scene where the bandits tried to raid the village in broad daylight while the war's going on.
Yeah, aside from that, but I highly doubt they caused that much damage.
Not enough to be guarded as a battle during the war. Maybe a small skirmish, maybe a few fires, maybe some property damage,
But the way they showed it seemed like something attacked the village. And they kept saying also that the war took place 10 years prior to the events of the series, even though it actually was 15 years.
okay.
You know that they kept claiming it was 10 years, even though it's been, I think it was like 10, 12 years, he was 15.
Yeah, they did. There is a bit of a continuity hiccup there, but basically they kind of did something similar to what Dragon Ball Super did when it premiered, to where it kind of starts in the immediate aftermath of a previous plot point, and then they time skip a couple of years later. Like, for example, you have Vegeta taking Trunks to the amusement park to blackmail him to not cry and throw a tantrum after Vegeta accidentally went grade 2 and socked him in the face.
Yeah, which basically that was a thing where, like, oh, if you hit me, I'll take you to the amusement park. Instead, he took a Thailand vacation, which that episode was so funny. After a while, he's like, I give up, and goes home. But looking up, basically, his wife was not left stranded because she has her own equipment, so she's perfectly fine.
Yeah, he just got fed up and left.
Because basically, he did it because he made a promise. He promised to take a vacation, and he did. Even though he left. Because he got bored.
Yeah, so basically in that prologue context, Vegeta had episode 1 and Goku got episode 2, if I remember correctly.
That was episode 3, the vacation episode.
The vacation episode was episode 3?
Yes, because the first episode was Mr. Satan getting the reward money for killing Majin Buu.
Oh yeah, Goku getting the prize money and sneaking off to King Kai's to train.
Actually, it was given to him from Mr. Satan because he didn't need the money. He gave it to Goku, and then Goku decided to
give the money to Chi.
We're giving this to Pan's college fund.
Yeah, because he did end up giving it to Chi-Chi. So
she's probably better handling money than he is.
Yes, and Goku just decided to train for 4 years leading up to the Battle of Gods.
Mm-hmm.
But
and of course, also going in the future too, to help out future Trunks in that amazing story. The Black Goku saga, no denying, is probably the best saga whole series aside from Return of the Gods.
Aside of the Tournament of Power, it is arguably one of the best arcs of Super. Say what you will about the ending. I guess because they didn't want to directly retcon End of Z by having future Trunks around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. I mean, that's understandable.
But it was a joke of him and future Mai getting together. Which it was hinted at present day where Trunks got crushed on the child version of Mai.
It's a leftover gag from Battle of Gods, and I'm like, y'all do realize that one is an original villain that was de-aged and the other's for comedy, and the other is a 12 to 13-year-old boy. You do realize this is important.
And the wish was made off screen.
So we don't even know how old the Pilaf gang were at the time the wish was made. But at the very least, Mai is 30 years older than Trunks, bare minimum.
Yeah. But then, of course, you have future Mai where she looks like her normal self. And she's carrying around a shotgun.
Yeah, but
I think it was Bulma kept making jokes like, oh. And I think it was like, Vegeta, I think Vegeta's like, basically go to the future and give me some grandchildren. Which I thought was so funny.
Say what you will about that, but again,
one of the 2 times I've ever heard of a character telling somebody who's dating somebody they know, give me some grandchildren. This also happened in Konosuba, where Katsuma is dating Megami. She's like 3 years younger than he is, but it's not icky. She's like 14, he's like 17, so it's fine. It's that world. And like after they went back to the village, the Crimson Demon village, basically, she's like, "Oh, I just came with my grandchildren." And Megan was like, "Mom." I thought it was so funny, and the fact her sister calls Katsuma Big Sis Man, because that's what he is. Because basically, he's she calls Aqua Big Sis Blue Hair. And I'll tell you off screen what she calls.
Yeah, because, yeah.
It makes total sense for her to call her this because it calls attention to her chest.
Yeah, you're gonna get me demonetized.
I'll tell you off air what she called her, but it was so funny and May told it's like, don't call me that. Godsman had no problem being called basically this little girl Big Sis Man. I just thought it was so funny. Anyway, let's get back to this.
Oh man, back to this.
So it's all about Ishin, and it's like, I'm a shinobi too. I know the way of the mission. Plus, frustration, I'm able to vindicate myself. Someone who's experienced for quite a long while. As you already know, was created by Amando in order to defeat Ishii. Consequently, to stop his plan destroying Divine Chi plan, which he did kind of see. And of course, he had a flashback to. We kind of see Ishin in the background. I'm like, I didn't expect to see this in this series, did you? An image of Ishin. A guy who got killed by Naruto. Because remember, I think Naruto killed him.
No, Kawaki got the finishing blow. Naruto used Baryon mode to weaken Ishiki, but Kawaki was the one who got the finishing blow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
he had this whole thing where he's like, the way they show it here, it's like flashback him lying on the ground and he's like sitting on this looks like a rock he's sitting on. Rock or like part of a bed. And then we have this memory thing of the arc from Boruto. The one where we have the final mode that Kurama had. We flashback to that final battle with him. Which I like the fact it's shown as a film reel. I thought that was interesting. I did not expect that.
Nice touch. Very nice touch.
I mean, why not? Film can be shown as memories. Nothing really wrong with that. I mean, there is a character from One Piece, one ability she can edit, where she just digs someone's head, pulls out film reel memories, and she can edit with her magic scissors. It's her edit because she's never used it was Charlotte Pudding. Voiced by Jill Harris. Yeah, she voiced her. You think, wait, Jill Harris, as in the one who voiced Noelle from Black Clover? Yep, same one. And yes, I've met Jill Harris. Wonderful lady, very lovely, and very short.
But yes, unfortunately,
I'm not talking about like a short person. She's like shorter than me. She looked like she was like 5'3" or 4.
Yes,
and of course she is dating Asa's voice actor.
And the more you know, but I hate to interrupt you, Nick, but yes, this will be a close stream. But if there's anything you guys want to add to the conversation or ask of us, please feel free to let us know in the comments. Like this one, for example.
About 5'3", 5'4". She's like short of. I'm like 6 foot. I had to basically kind of kneel down a little bit in order to get a similar height that she is. She's like really short. Though I can't deny the fact that Dallas Reed must be a really lucky guy to date Jill Harris, because she's a very lovely woman.
Indeed. But back to this.
And no, she's not. She's not doing the Boruto that I know of. She mostly sticks to Crunchyroll stuff. So, and then we see looks like when Kawaki defeated Ishin, and then we see the fragments of the Ten Tails. I think it's coming back after their failed mission. There's one that looks like a woman who's standing behind the guy who looks similar to the Naruto. There's a guy who would look like things on his face.
Shinky?
possibly, but he's got a Renegon. All I got Renegons. But I'm curious, like, now here's the thing. They don't name these people at all. They just don't have names. They're just connected to, like, this guy's connected to Naruto, this one connected to Sasuke. Well, others, I'm not sure.
Question: Alien Romulus. I've heard of it, but I have not yet to see the film.
I have not seen either, but I heard it's really good. I heard the previous Alien movie was terrible. Alien Covenant.
Oh, I thought Alien Prey was the previous one.
Well, the one for Alien.
Okay.
Because Predators had 2 movies.
Okay, thank you.
Since AVP. One was The Predator. I heard that was not very good. And the other one, I did not know was a Predator movie. A movie called Prey. I had no idea this was a Predator movie. I never heard a name. Last Predator movie I heard was The Predator, and I thought that was it. And all of a sudden they released a movie called Prey, where it's set during like the 18th century. It's like a prequel, if I can tell by the synopsis of it, but I haven't seen it yet. So here's the thing for Predator. I've only seen the first 2 movies, and it's crossed with Alien. I have not seen Predators. In case anybody's going to ask, I have not seen it. I have not seen The Predator or Prey. I have not seen his movies. So, anybody see them? Please do not spoil them, because I have not seen them yet.
One Piece will be the only one to last several generations of shonen. It is the Hokage of Shonen Jump.
Kind of. I would definitely say yes, given the fact this one is not slated to be ending anytime soon, because My Hero Academia just ended, Jujutsu Kaisen is ending next month, Hunter x Hunter is coming back, but we don't know how long, given how, yes, that's definitely true, it's coming back that date. I would say the only major one aside from One Piece is still around that's not ending anytime soon. I would say there's only 2 I could think of. One is Black Butler, which has had over 200 chapters, a monthly series.
Wait. Black Butler is still in serialization?
Yes. Well, I think it took a break recently, but it's been serialization now since like 2006.
Jesus.
It's a monthly manga. Like 213 chapters. So, and Crimson Tiger King, is that supposed to be Blue Exorcist or Black Butler?
Please continue.
Yes.
But
it just, you have One Piece, Blue Exorcist, and Black Butler. I think it's only major ones. I think maybe Seraph the End, which I have read the manga quite a while. And those of you curious, I have seen the anime for the series, and it's made the same people who made Attack on Titan. I really wish they had season 2 of this one. So they explain about the whole thing about the Divine Tree, which anybody seen the Naruto series know about the Divine Tree? Oh, One Piece at the end 2032. Interesting. Ending a few chapters. Okay. That's news to me. I did not know that. I've not heard any news about that. That's complete news to me. Thank you, Crimson Tiger King, for notifying about that, because I reviewed the Blue X manga.
at least these mangaka are actually getting a chance to end the series on their own terms. So let's at least acknowledge that, because there used to be a time where mangaka would have to slave for years on end.
And also, at least we're not hearing any news about manga being slashed, like canceled. Because I'm hearing something in the last year or two, manga has been canceled after only been publishing about 4 or 5 months, weekly manga. Because of like sales not there, so they cancel the manga.
Mostly a lot of rom-com series or stuff that's not mainstream, or doesn't hit a certain sales percentage within a quarter or 4-month span. But the most I've seen of that are mostly rom-com, light novels, light novel adaptations, stuff like that.
So, I'm trying to think like any major ones aside from One Piece, Blue Exorcist, I know it's ending soon. I'd say Fair Attention Quest is the publishing. Eden Zero just ended a few months ago. One's based on manga.
Wasn't Bleach announced to get a spinoff, or am I imagining that?
It had one shot, but it has anything new since. But that manga's been over since like 2016.
Okay.
But not many are left. Not a lot of the major ones. I say One Piece is the biggest one left, but because everyone's ending. The Jujutsu Kaisen one, I was very surprised they had this one ending.
At least the mangaka, like I said, is ending the series on their own terms.
I was hearing something. I think it was this series. I think it was Jujutsu Kaisen that the creator of My Hero went to a movie with this one, and it's implied the writer of Jujutsu Kaisen is a woman,
Hmm.
which I find that to be interesting. Oh, Bleach. Yeah, I already know about Jujutsu Kaisen. I know about that one. That was announced. I think that was announced just a couple of days ago. I think that was announced. Jujutsu Kaisen in 5 chapters, which means since chapter 126 just came out, that means it's ending with chapter 271.
The Infinity Castle arc is probably the Infinity Castle. From what I've heard and seen of JJK, the Infinity Castle arc is probably better off as a movie because of how high stakes that arc is.
And it's long.
It is very long.
I've heard it's been split 3 parts.
I would not be surprised if it ended up being a
Also split
trilogy.
3 parts. They announced this a month or two ago. The final season, Dr. Stone, 3 cours.
Wait, I thought Dr. Stone been ended.
The manga's name, but the anime.
Okay, I'm about to say.
Yeah, the anime of the final season that won the 4th season of the show. I heard about it, and I think they're handling it fine. Crimson Ear King. One Piece is probably the biggest manga they have right now, so they're going to do fine. As long as it makes money, they're going to be perfectly fine. You agree?
I agree.
Yes. So,
back to this.
We're only about halfway through the chapter. Don't worry about that. I know we're going for 2 hours, but well, at least we're not delving into other stuff. That's not related to manga.
At least we're on topic.
Yes. So let's explain more about the Drying Tree stuff, which we already knew about that from the end of Shippuden, which I don't know what is up with one of the things of Kara bringing back the Divine Tree, because the thing is, I thought this is kind of weird. Like, did anybody not have an episode where they focus on the Folk Ninja War? Like this was never mentioned in the Ninja Academy stuff. Like, there was no episode focused on like, hey, let's do a flashback to the Fourth Ninja War where we tell these kids about this war and like tell them like about the Divine Tree, because Boruto, when he first sees, he has no idea what the heck the Divine Tree even is. Either it wasn't taught in Ninja Academy school, or they forgot. I've seen Alien vs. Predator.
Okay.
I don't know if it's helping success because the first one was really good. Not a big fan of the sequel.
But okay, a lot of that goes into more detail in the actual novel because there are 4 main novels, technically 5 if we're counting Naruto Gaiden, that actually predate the movie recap or Momoshiki arc. One is focused on the field trip to the Hidden Mist.
Which they did show in the anime.
They did adapt that one. One is
really good.
One is the bell test against Kakashi in the Guinea exams. That ended up being a mini arc in of itself, about 5 episodes. The third one, I want to say one of them was focused on Nue on the whole, or at least elements of Sumire and the ghost incident with Nue, but they kind of expanded it for the anime.
Nue, he's not in the manga.
No, Sumire debuted in the...
No, Nue, her pet.
Huh, now you mention it. Yeah, Nue never appeared in the manga.
My guess is Sumire appeared there because the anime showed her off. I guess this is when Kishimoto brought her in. It was the writer who preceded him.
Kodachi.
Who brought her in. Yeah, he brought her in. I swear by 2030, Shonen will only have 2 of the manga they can publish. Boruto's already a complete series DVD set.
Part 1 is.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, I would definitely say yes. I would say the only one I can think of published and they make a name right now is Undead Unluck. That just started recently. I haven't read the manga in a couple years, but I read it for early stuff. It was really good.
Wait, isn't One Punch Man still in serialization, or are they with somebody else?
Yes, it is. Though it comes out when the writer feels like it.
Okay.
Though I do know that the third season comes out soon. I don't think it's this year. I was hearing a rumor they were going to switch studios again for season 3, but then they're going to keep it with JC Staff for season 3. And a lot of people, it's one of those two shows where it switched studios, and people gave a lot of flack because they thought it was dip animation. I watched season 2 of One Punch Man, and what happened with season 3 of 7 Deadly Sins. If there was dip, it was very, very little. It didn't affect it very much. I would say when the delay happened with season 4 because of COVID, if you watch the season 4, it's made by the same studio, Studio Dean, I would say animation-wise, season 4 was better than season 3. For
the art, now the art wasn't good. A common misconception that people misconstrue or merge together art and animation. No, animation is the fluidity, movement, and framing of characters or art. Mm-hmm. Art is the actual imagery itself. Now, you can argue that something can have good animation, but the art was bad. But don't try to make them one of the same. That is one of the biggest misconceptions in media.
Yes. They say the criticism was it took a dip. Not the big of a dip. I would say the colors changed.
Yes, the colors changed and the art was a little wonky, but I would not say the animation quality went dipped. I would not say that.
They said the same thing about One Punch Man season 2, and they showed this by having where King, his face is a little bit slimmer than it is over in Madhouse. Which, okay, his face is a little slimmer. It's still King. It's still the same character. I don't get why people hated people like much season 2. Black Clover, that one's still publishing, but it comes out once every 4 months. And at first, it was doing one chapter. And then this past December, it released 2 chapters. So they're not doing 2 chapters, once every 4 months. And I'm like, that's cool. I love the fact it's doing that because at least people are not waiting for another 4 months in our chapter. We have another 10th right there. I think he's released 6 in this format. He's released 2 in December, 2 in April, and I think he just released 2 just this month. Though I have heard it's ending soon, though no date on when it's ending.
As for the IMBW Naruto and TMNT crossover, it's going to be self-contained. I'll tell you that right now. But
yeah, I'm interested in it, but I'm fine with them doing that. That's fine. But there's still one crossover I would love to see him do. Them crossover with Bendis's New Avengers when they feature Daredevil on the roster.
That does have potential.
Yeah, because you can have Spider-Man, because you can have Spider-Man interact with Donatello. You can have Daredevil interact with, I would say, Raphael. Luke Cage probably with Leonardo because they're both leaders. I'd say Iron Fist interact with Splinter. Michelangelo, I would say that Raphael can also interact. He had good interaction with Wolverine because they're very similar. Michelangelo, I can't think of who would interact with him. Maybe Spider, maybe, but I would say Spider mostly interact with Donatello because we're science nerds.
Yeah, I think even Spider-Man will get annoyed from Michelangelo after a while.
I mean, who can probably interact with him from Bendis' New Avengers lineup? You remember the one that he had just at the Fear itself? Where it was Spider-Man, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Doctor Strange, the Carol Dan with Ms. Marvel, Jessica Jones. I'm trying to think who else is part of this roster. I think that was it I can think of.
What I got an idea. Batman and the Last Ronin.
That might be interesting, but we already had 3 crossover. Actually 4 because of the movie 2. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I kind of wish that James Tennant was not told at a friend's birthday party this movie was happening.
Yeah, they just didn't want to pay him royalties. That's all that boiled down to.
Yeah. And I don't like what DC's doing with its creators where they just don't tell them the stuff to be done. Like, I heard Scott Snyder did not know that Coriolis would include in Gotham Knights, the game.
Yep.
He had no idea about that. Like, DC should communicate with the creators if they're going to do this stuff. but they don't. One thing I did notice, I was looking online. Apparently, for the last couple of seasons of Flash, they were including a lot of characters from Josh Williams' Flash run. I haven't watched it, but I read they include not just Godspeed, they include like a lot of characters he created from the comic on the show.
Yeah, but by the time you got to them, the Flash had already taken a downgrade. The Flash, it didn't end with a bang. It ended with a whimper. That's all I'm going to say on that.
I got roughly 4 seasons in. I fell behind, and I have not finished watching. It's not because I got bored with the show. It's because I had other stuff to watch. But the last thing I officially watched for the show before I took a break for a while, X crossover. I'm here.
Sorry, you lagged for a second. But back to this, because I think we got about 10 pages left.
20. We're close. So we'll read really quick. Visions. So you're saying no of infants with flip and cognitive positions even before it happened. That's where there are parts I'm confirming for the first time through this conversation. Since my perception that is Kawaki has always been Hokage's son. So what is this ability, and how did you come of all of a sudden? I'm sure Mara told you about Okasi Shibai. The Okasi
Shibai Otsutsuki, but I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah, it's like this is the first time when I read this today. I had never heard this name before. Were you surprised about this?
Yeah, Shibai did appear in kind of a throwaway line in part 1. I believe it was chapter 63, 64. But Shibai had at least been name dropped a few times.
But not just not like a full conversation by him. The Okasi who devoured countless planets long ago, across all sorts of Shin Jutsu. Shin is basically a Japanese translation for new.
Yep.
Was even called a god. I mentioned the name again. Each of his card members were given enhanced modification of Mondo, receive implants of Shiba's cells without fail. It helps you manifest at least one of us. He may many Shinjutsu. So, like the leader, he also got implanted with one of those things.
Yeah,
I thought that's interesting. So, does that mean Delta's got one? But Delta's partial android.
Basically means that only Code, Ada, and what was his name? Not the younger brother. Ada. Whatever
Damon.
the younger brother. Damon. Thank you.
Yeah.
Damon or Damien. Their Shinjutsu abilities manifested, but Kajin Koji's, Deltas, and Boros did not.
Yeah.
But Kajin Koji's did manifest right after during the Jigen / Ishiki fight when he was on death's door. And after foreseeing after what we're about to get into in a second, Kajin Koji just said, "Hey, I can't die here. I need to get away. I need to get out of here."
So they mentioned that Code can use claw marks. That's where that came from. Damon can inflict attacks, and Ada can use her godlike abilities, but neither Baro, Delta Nori, or Damon started any. I think he means himself has any Shinjutsu. And we see him on the floor again. Like, what is up with the perspective? Is like he's on the ground, but then he's sitting on the rock. It's really weird. And then we see a flashback to the Ishin arc here again. Like, they mentioned about the whole thing about that. One question: you think it's going to happen no matter what? Seeing all futures, how is it useful? Big advantage is intel. For example, you're life on the run. It can prevent from ending up cover like earlier. Yeah, to help, but excuse me. Screw attack did that already between Goku and Superman. Twice.
But back to the main topic. We were on page 23.
125.
Oh, thank.
Yep. So basically, he's gonna teach him some awesome jutsu. Baruto's happy about that because, like Naruto, he loves learning about jutsu. I guess he heard that from his father, aside from his parents, right?
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah. Apparently, also went on the run. He also, because he in the picture, his hair is like spiky and here is like all straight down because he's on the run. Like, I know I tell you, rescue Sasuke from his tree. But first, you need to understand the worst future is the possible, right now possible. The very worst future. Ten Tails break free of Ko's control and evolve into a new way. It will show us multiple divine tree people who possess individual minds of those big ideal disposal of Ten Tails roots branch. It's like a lot of thing with divine tree stuff. They'll say to
Indeed.
our leader, Jura, Baruto is going to kill you. So I'm thinking Jura might be the guy with the swirl on his back. I'm guessing that's him. The guy who looks kind of like the guy who also has the Uzumaki symbol on his belly.
I believe so.
I think that's Jura. I'm guessing, but he never identified himself with Jura, but I think that's him. Some more about Divine Tree. And he would like basically knock sense to his idiot bro and restore Uzumaki household. My goal. And then he takes a ninja headband. Well, actually, a Sasuke ninja headband. Because if I remember correctly, that Baruto gave Kawaki his, and Baruto kept Sasuke's because he asked Sasuke if he could keep it. Sasuke said he can keep it, so he kept it. And those of you reading the manga like wonder, like, wait, that scar, that's the one across. How did that happen? That happened toward the end of part 1 of Naruto. Naruto did that. The one across the eye, that was Kawaki.
Yep.
Yeah, it happened when Naruto was in a early version of the Ten-Tail Cloak. Not the one we saw in Shippuden, that's the early version of it. Because it was like red bubbles. I would say it was like Form 1, possibly.
I think it was formed. I think it was 2 or 3, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because it didn't form like the major arms that he did over in the paint arc, but his fingernails grew out, and that's what caused the scratch. And the thing is, Sasuke has never said anything about it at all. I know about it because I watched the series. They puts it back on, and come back to present day, where Baruto's injured. So Himawari is okay, and then runs out to go see her brother. But first she heals Sadara of her injury because her injuries are minor, though her arm's still kind of on fire thanks to the healing ability. And then, of course, she's going to heal Baruto. And Kawaki's like, I'm not going to, like... And she's like, are you going to pay me for healing Baruto? He's like, no. We're going to do something first. Let her heal him. But first, let's put handcuffs on him. On a guy who saved your life. Put him in basically sealing jutsu handcuffs. Baruto. And then he takes out the toad and he crushes it. And Kachiko just doesn't notice it. My guess he's probably still in that abandoned base. So, and then we see a bulb on top of a cube, and it forms into something. And then looks like it brings back the guy possibly killed.
Hidari.
Yeah, Hidari. Any problems? Jura. I think that's the guy with the... Yeah. He's like, is it time for that? I'm Child BC. In exchange, what's emerged? Fine. Harvest it. And then she, I can tell this is a woman, puts up the cube, says, now to name you. Okay. Kind of a weird note to end at for this chapter. Right? It's like this is not a cliffhanger. It feels like you ended too early.
Yeah, one more. I guess I wanted the cliffhanger to be who's this next Otsuki, this next Shinjin's going to be revealed. Is it going to be based on Shinki? Is it going to be based on Kakashi? Is it going to be based on someone else who was captured away from Konoha? I feel like the paneling was a little off towards the end, but I think a double pager would have worked better. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yep, that's like I feel about it too. But that's pretty much all 4 recent chapters released.
Yes, hopefully we'll make a better effort to coordinate and schedule with the releases. That way we don't have to do a big 2.5 hour volume. Oh, but thank
The
you.
reason why we did this because we've both been busy.
So yeah, going forward we'll try to be no more than review 2 chapters at a time. But
this was 4. This is like 4 months of chapters. Because we just not have time to review these things. That's just the thing.
But I think it turned out well, all things considered. 18 people are watching us, so I think we did pretty good, all things considered.
Yep.
But before we wrap up, any final thoughts or anything you want to note about the chapter? What were your favorite moments? What you liked about it?
I think the Kurama stuff was interesting, and I liked the flashback they did. So it explains how he knew about Kaiji Kojin. But I'm kind of thinking, like, there was more to that flashback. Like, did he tell him that he's the clone of Jiraiya? It's a good question. I'm sure that Mondo's probably going to want to talk to him too. Now he's taken into custody. And all because they say he's a traitor, even though he didn't kill his father. Here's the thing. They accuse him of murdering Naruto. Where's the body? Where's blood? There is none. You're based upon an assumption. And based upon one person's word. Kawaki. It's his word against Boruto. So that's kind of what we have here. But we'll find out next month what happens next. Maybe we'll have a chapter where he talks to Mondo and Mondo tells him that the guy he's working with is clone Jiraiya. Which he knows of Jiraiya because he met him. If they bring up what happened in the anime.
Indeed. I pretty much had similar thoughts on these, volume and a chapter as well.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, anything you'd like to promote? Anything you got coming up on the channel?
On my channel, I have videos I'm going to do tomorrow. I did 2 views today. I didn't get a chance to do any more because I had this stream. So tomorrow I'll have time to work on my other videos. I got 2 anime and 2 comic corners to work on.
Oh, okay. As for me, you could please stick around for my Mass Effect playthrough. Yes, due to technical problems, the next Mass Effect video was delayed. That's why you got 2 this week. So Mass Effect 3 Part 4 is out right now. So if you still want to stay tuned to the channel, you can go on J Blaze and stay tuned on that.
Are you using male shepherd or female shepherd?
Male shepherd.
Are you having him spend the night with the blue alien?
Spoilers. But I might do a second playthrough with female shepherd. I haven't decided yet. Maybe I might save that for a subscription milestone. But with that being said, stay tuned for my Dekamu retrospective, my Tomorrowverse retrospective, and more content we got coming up on the channel. But with all that being said, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this major collaboration video.
Mm-hmm.
Flame off.